And so you're climbing up this thing and you're just like ticking off the meters as you're going up. So you're just kind of mesmerized. One of the newer fabric companies that we're working with, they just have their offices just a little bit outside of Como. So one of the sales managers, he lives right there. And so second last day of the trip, we were done doing all the factory tours and visits. And so came back and he called up his buddy at the local bike shop. His buddy was either an ex-pro or super good rider and also amazing mechanic. So got me a Pinarello Gone, one of their mid-level bikes. Guy set it up. I had my measurements for my bike here, so I just gave him the measurements. This thing was perfect. I got on it, I brought my shoes and pedals, but other than that, he had everything set up. I think I ticked the saddle up after I got on it a millimeter or something, and it was like perfect. Never ridden a Pinarello, was really, excited to, even though it wasn't their top end model, it was still and I love the bike. It was like probably one of the most comfortable, confident, bikes going. And so, yeah, we just started off. The sales manager was a triathlete and road rider, but also just a really good athlete and super good guy. Yeah, we rode up the lake, just this, pretty narrow road, but not a lot of traffic, and just kind of winds through these neighborhoods and a few little businesses along the way, and then up to Bellagio, and went into the city there and just kind of looked around. There's a lot of fancy stuff going on, nice cars, a lot of rich people hanging out, I guess. Which not my cup of tea really, but we just filled up some bottles, and then right out of the town, you start climbing up the Ghisallo climb, which is one of the famous climbs from the Tour of Lombardia. And so we're riding up that road, and they've got the signs on the side of the road and all the cycling memorabilia. You just kind of feel this place, right? So you're in kind of a special area, and it's just a beautiful climb. And he's a strong enough rider that we rode at a good tempo, but nobody was trying to kill each other. It was just trying to enjoy the scenery. And as you climb up, you're looking back along the lake and just amazing views. We climbed all the way up, and then at the top of that climb, there is a little church there, the Madonna del Ghisallo, I believe it's called, and it's a church dedicated to cycling. So you go in, and this amazing chapel that is there's a fence, and then there's a proper church and Madonna and whatnot in there, but the rest of it is just cycling memorabilia. And so it's just this amazing collection of bikes and things. And so you've got all the old Italian champions and world champion jerseys and things, these old wool jerseys and newspaper clippings and pictures and things like that. But a few other things that stuck out. There's a lot of Pontani memorabilia, as you might imagine. But there was the Pope's credentials to the Giro d'Italia were hanging on the wall there. And then the broken bike of Fabio Carcatelli, who died in the Tour, riding for the Motorola team. So, you kind of all these different amazing things and emotions, kind of come over you when you're in a place like that. It was very, very spiritual, and it was super cool. And then, you kind of come out of that. This is this old, small, building that's obviously been there a long time, and you come out and they have a modern cycling museum built into the rock that, just next door to this place. So Max, my friend, said, hey, let's go over there. And they basically have it set up for cyclists. So you take your shoes off, and they've got like Crocs or clogs or whatever they are, that you walk around the museum in. But they had a wall of all the old Giro d'Italia leaders' jerseys from every year that they could find. And there was only a few years, missing on this wall. It's just super cool. And then just a museum of all old bikes and just all the big champions, pedigrees on the walls and things. Jumped out of there, went over to the cafe next door, had a quick espresso, as they do at the bar. It's not to sit down and enjoy your coffee. It's a quick, little shot and back on the road. And then we rode over from there up through a couple of the cities, and then up this climb that they brought back into the Tour of Lombardy that they weren't using for a lot of years, called the Muro di Sermano, which is, I think Muro is the wall, and it was. It was this crazy small, probably just wide enough for maybe a car and a little bit more, like one car. But basically, it's a closed road there is no traffic, and so it's like might only be a kilometer and a half or something, but it's straight up, and every meter of altitude, I think it's close to 1,000 meters. Every one is marked. They've got all the champions' names are written on there from the races. They've got Strava times for all the people who are like on the top of the leaderboards are painted on the road. So just super cool. And so you get up to the top and there's like a bar up top, restaurant, right at the top, that, cafe that people are at. From that point, we just dove over the side and down this insane descent. And I'm not sure if it's the one that Remco Evenepoel crashed on in last year's Tour of Lombardy and broke his hip, but if it wasn't, it was probably right near that section. I mean, it was this crazy road, but the bike I was on was so dialed in that it was like, and the roads were so good, in my opinion. I wasn't in a race and there wasn't any traffic, so it was like beautiful. And we just went down this amazing switchback climb, overlooking the lake, and it was just amazing. So rode back down, got to the coast road, and then we went to a local cycling cafe in Como that's right across from the Duomo, across the courtyard. And it was a little outdoor. They had an inside bar, but a few tables outside on the courtyard, and had a sandwich and a beer, and met the owner, who was super cool. And it's cycling memorabilia, cycling stuff, cycling themed, cafe and bar and restaurant. And it was just like, are you kidding me? Like, this was like the perfect cycling day. So.